I have a wife who I trust completely, and I can tell her anything. But sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you just need a guy to talk to, a guy who's going through the same fight that you're going through. And honestly, for a long time, I didn't really have that. I have close friends, but I didn't really have a guy to sit down and talk about spiritual things and life with. And honestly, I didn't really know that I was missing that. I don't even know that I felt like I needed that. But now I realize what I was missing out on. Now here's the truth. This gets kind of weird as a pastor because I have a lot of people who reach out to me and they want answers. And I am glad to help out. I'm glad to give answers whenever I can. But it's usually a one-way street. There's not a whole lot of people who are asking how I'm doing. And now, don't take me wrong, this is not a complaint. I love my role as pastor, and that's just a reality of the position. But I realized over the course of time that I have a ton of contacts, but I really don't have a whole lot of friends. Maybe one, maybe two, but not a whole lot of friends, the kind that I can reach out to when my life starts to fall apart. Those who know the real stuff going on behind the scenes in my life. And it wasn't a dramatic thing. This went on for years, really, and it just became this kind of low noise, this hum in the background, where I just began to kind of feel alone. And what I began to realize as I talked to more guys is there's a lot of guys who feel this way. A lot of guys who feel like they just don't have someone they can reach out to on a regular basis. And we just write it off as normal. Now, I've thought a lot about why this is the case. Why do men struggle so much? Why is it so hard for a man to make a friend? And really, I think it comes down to a few things in our life. Really, first, I think it comes down to fear. You know, we've been told our whole life that men are to be strong. We are to be able to stand and many times not even show emotion or show that we have any sort of struggle. And it's hard to be real. And when that's embedded in our lives, when we hear that so much, then we get this fear, what are people going to think of me? But there's also a sense of pride in it. But we don't want people to know that we have struggles. I mean, we're men, right? We don't struggle with these kind of things. So we don't want to be transparent. And if we're honest, it's kind of a comfort thing. You know, we get comfortable in our own lives, comfortable just kind of living how we're living. And if we're honest, we don't always want to change. We don't want any guy who can call us out on our stuff. So we end up just really having nobody at all to lean into when we need the help. Fear, comfort, and pride, that's the wall. And if we're honest, most of us, men, we've built that wall ourselves and we're hiding behind it. You know, there's a verse in men's ministry that goes around a lot. There's a lot of men's ministries even named for this verse. It's Proverbs 27:17. And maybe you've heard it. Iron sharpens iron. But here's the thing that I never really thought about. What happens when iron never touches iron? It stays dull. And in reality, the more I thought about it, that was me. I wasn't letting myself be sharpened by other Christian men, and I was getting comfortable. Everything was fine, but I was getting dull in the process. And then there's this gut check moment that just kind of hits you. You look at the life of Jesus, and even Jesus, the Son of God, God in the flesh, even Jesus didn't do life alone. He chose 12 men to go through life with. And I'll be honest, if Jesus surrounded himself with 12 other men to walk through life with, what made me ever think that I could possibly get through this alone? So here's what happened. I asked one guy, just one, just to start meeting with me. And we came into that first meeting, and I'm going to be honest, it's kind of awkward at first, but own the awkwardness. Because we just sat there, and it was really for the first few meetings that we had together, just trying to navigate, what does this look like? What are the rules of this? And what we set down, at least for us, is there's no rules. And then that started to become genuine. We began to build this closer relationship, and we started to hold each other accountable. Not in a legalistic kind of way, just what are you struggling with? How can I pray for you? How can I be here for you? Now when we meet, we share, what have I learned in Scripture this week? We talk about our marriages, what's going on with our wives, our families. What are we struggling with at work? Do we have any sin in our life that we're struggling with? And you know what? Over the course of the last year, now that group has grown. There's now about 6 of us that meet every single week. 6, at least for us, that's kind of the cap. That's the max, the sweet spot for us. Because once you start to grow outside of that number, 5 or 6, it starts to get hard to be genuine, to ask those questions, to hold each other accountable. Now, I want to be clear. I don't have it all figured out. I'm still in this. Yes, I'm a pastor, but I'm still going through this with those other men. We're still walking through this process together, but you know what? I'm not doing it alone anymore. So here's my encouragement to you this week, guys. One man. Find one other guy and invite him to lunch. Take him out for a cup of coffee. Then sit down and embrace the awkwardness. It's going to be weird. It just is. You're not going to know what to say. You're not going to know how to navigate this thing. But that awkwardness, that is the entrance fee to something that can be life-changing for you. Because on the other side of this, you know what you're going to find? Something that most men never encounter in their whole life. Real, authentic, genuine friendship. You know, we were never meant to do life alone. Let's stop pretending like we can. Embrace the awkward. Hey guys, this channel is all about helping men grow in leadership and in their Christian walk. And if this hits you at all, would you do me a favor? Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Do you have that guy? Are you starting this journey? Guys, I'll see you next time for the next episode of God Made Man.